Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives.
Welcome back to part 2 of our episode with Angelica Teixeira here on FitBody Lifestyle. We are so happy you joined us here. And we left our last episode. If you didn't see that, check that out from last Monday's episode. But we left our last episode with a question for Angelica. So we're excited to get started today. We're going to first have her give us her check-in word. So what is your check-in word for this episode?
Okay, so another one, free.
Free. I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Yeah, a lot of freedom right now.
I love that. And all that you shared in that first episode, we were just talking offline before starting this episode, just really was so touching and inspiring. So if people didn't listen, I really recommend going back and listening. And then I know we're going to have another episode here. Would you like to ask your question again?
Yeah, so the question that we ended part 1 with was, what was harder? You explained the getting the job at HEB, your first job in the United States as a bagger, and you talked about being in this big room and having to do all these things and speaking. It sounded like you maybe had 10 words of English that you had about that, which is pretty amazing, but you only needed apparently 3 words, which was "I love people," and those were the words that mattered the most. So that was an amazing story. But the question that we ended with was, what was harder, getting that first job at HEB or becoming Miss Bikini Olympia?
Both was really hard, but I think winning Miss Bikini Olympia was harder. You know, it was something that I was competing already for a while, and then just to get my pro card was a journey, you know, and then qualifying for the Olympia. So everything, the whole journey was to get to that moment to, win Miss Bikini Olympia. So we started from way before, what I spoke about in the last episode, like since my first show, the journey started there. So it was a big, big journey. Like some people say it was fast for me. It took me, like I started competing 2013 and then 2017, I won my first Olympia. So it was kind of like not, many, many years, but it was very intense. Very, very intense. Like
I love that you said it was a journey to get your pro card, because I do think a lot of people have this expectation of they want to just go right in, do a show and get their pro card, and I think that there's a lot of benefit from the journey and from, taking the time to learn and grow and all of that. I don't want to go too far ahead, but are you?
No, you're good. You're
okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay. So, because I would love to hear, like, what was that journey like? Because we talked about the first couple shows and you figuring out what division was right for you and was the better fit. And once you figured that out, then what happened next? Did I know you moved, you kind of moved around. You were in New Jersey at the time, and you did a few shows. So what was next on the journey there?
Well, and just before that, I'm just giving a timeline perspective.
No, you're good.
So 2008 in the United States, around that time, first competition was 2013. I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of perspective from the timeline, that it's not like you came to the U.S. and started competing, your first year. And I know a lot of athletes do come and start that, but some of them have competed in their home country. But you came to the U.S., worked as a bagger, and then started competing.
Then she
5 years.
became a group fitness.
That's right, group fitness instructor, right, in New Jersey,
trainer.
right, and personal trainer. So it was 5 years before you actually took the stage as a figure competitor, and then now go with that question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to set the timeline.
What was next for you?
So yeah, after that we spoke in the last episode, that I crossed over, I did figure and bikini, and I ended up placing second on both on the, like local show in New Jersey. And then I was like, oh, I got national qualified for both. So now I can go and do nationals in Miami, because I think that was kind of like almost the end of the year, I think it was October, I think. And then I'm like, you know what? okay, I'll choose bikini and I'll start getting ready for nationals and I'll win my pro card. I thought, just like you said, that it was going to be easy and it should be easy, right? So I start getting ready and excited. And then I'm like, oh my God. No, because after that show, then I decided to do a few more shows prepping for bikini, right? So I'm like, okay, so now I'm gonna do shows more the end of the year. I'm gonna take like maybe 2 months, I think, or 3 months to get my physique ready for real for bikini, right? The right way, because prepping 1 month wasn't right. So I did that, and then I did the shows by the end of the year in New Jersey. I did I think it's a big show in New Jersey, and then I did the show in Tribeca again, right? I think was
Yeah, if I'm right on this, it's the NPC New Jersey State Championships was your first bikini show, which you also did figure in that show. And then you did the NPC New Jersey Golds Classic Championship in October. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I did 3 shows, right?
Yep. Yep. And then the NPC East Coast Championships, and then the NPC Eastern USA Championships.
Yeah, the Eastern USA in Tribeca again. And I'm like, it was so awesome to be there in the same stage again as my first show and feeling way more prepared. And I think I placed second on that one. What do you have there, Greg?
You placed first.
Oh, I placed first
At the
yes,
Eastern USA Championships, yes.
Yeah, so being from last placing figure to placing first, with just a few months, it was kind of like amazing. Then I'm like, okay, I'm super qualified for nationals, right? So I went and read the rules, like for competing at nationals. I was almost buying my ticket, and then I saw you need to be an American citizen, and I just had applied for my green card at that time. So I think I had my green card. They sent me my green card, but I wasn't an American citizen yet. And then they say, no green card. You need to be an American citizen. I'm like, what am I going to do? So that's when I started the journey. I sent letters to President Emmanuel, to the NPC. And then I spoke to President Emmanuel. And then they said, oh, you know what? So they all, they were very helpful at the NPC office, like with emails back and forth. So they were like, you know what? I think like Natalia Mello did that. She won one overall in Brazil, let her represent Brazil because she won an overall. So maybe if you win a few overalls, you can petition to Brazil for your pro card. I'm like, okay. So I start 2014. I was a girl with a goal. I'm like, let me win overalls and get this pro card. So I start my journey. I did shows in Canerica, the Montanari Bros. Greg has everything there, right?
I do.
Greg?
Yeah, and it was the Montanari. Yeah, you're right. Your Montanari Brothers Powerhouse Classic in April of 2014.
Yeah, so I won the overall there. And then, I started like 2014 was a journey to get those overalls. And through the whole year, I was able to win, I think, four overalls. 4. Yeah. But, and then I sent the letter and I'm like, hey, okay, the year went by. I did so many shows. I think I did 10 or 11 shows. I'm not sure. Can you count that, Greg?
Well, on here it lists 7 in 2014.
7, but I think I did more.
There might be some that aren't on.
Yeah, there might be some that aren't on here. Yeah,
sometimes there's something that's not there. Yeah, but like I had so many shows. I was competing every month to try to get those overalls, and then by the end of the year, I got those 4 overalls, and then I sent a letter to the NPC and then to Brazil, and they're like, oh, okay, 1 overall, because it was the first time a show in Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn Grand Prix was the first time they had the show. Oh, we cannot count that one because it's a new show, so you have to get at least 1 more in a big show. And I'm like, oh my God. So I started the year and I tried for the Metropolitan, right? It was the first show in New York. And I think it was the first year that they brought it to New Jersey. And it was a new state. And I'm like, okay. So I went and I won the overall. And then a week after, I won the overall at John Camper in New Jersey.
Yep.
So that totally, it gave me 6 overalls title, but they said 1 they didn't accept. So I'm like, okay, at least I have 5. So and then a petition again. And the president Jimenez said, okay, you deserve to be a pro. Let's see what Brazil says. And then they're like, oh, now that you won, like all these overalls, we want you to come to Brazil and compete here at least once, because we can't have you representing Brazil if you never even competed here. So we invite you to come to the Arnold and compete here at the Arnold. And then I'm like, okay, I'll come. I thought they thought I couldn't travel, but I could. I had the green card. And then they went back and they're like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry, you cannot come to the Arnold because all the athletes here go through such a hard qualification to compete at the Arnold. It's not fair that we just invite you. And I'm like, but you just invited me formally. I already bought my ticket, and I did. Once he said, I'm like, okay, I'm buying my ticket. I bought my ticket to Brazil. And I'm like, okay. So they said, oh, no, you can't come. And then I went to President Manuel. I'm like, hey, this is not fair. They invite me to come to Brazil to compete at the Arnold. Now they're saying I can't come. I already bought my ticket. And they're like, and then I think they had an internal conversation. They wrote me a letter. Hey, you know what? You can come. You're invited to compete at the Arnold. I'm like, okay. So I went to Brazil, and I was so excited to compete in my country because, I'm like, wow, first time competing in Brazil. But they treat me so bad in Brazil.
Really?
It was like, I was almost crying all the time. When I got there, I had like my cousin take me there, and we went from another city, like Teresópolis, like 3 hours away to get there for check-ins. And then I brought everything, my bag, my shoes, my bikini. And they're like, oh, you're late. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I arrived from US, and then, I arrived in Teresópolis, and then it's so far away, but I'm here. And Bikini Girls is still being checking. And I'm like, why are you doing that? It's screaming with me. And I'm like, okay. And like, okay, go try your bikini. We got to check your bikini. I'm like, okay. So I put on my bikini, the bikini that I won, almost all my overalls here. And they like, okay, you cannot wear that bikini. I'm like, why not? They're like, no, you can't. It's too small. And I'm like, but that's the bikini I wore like for my last 2 overalls. And they're like, NPC is one thing. Here we do different. And
Wow.
I'm like, okay, so I'm like, I have this one. And then I showed them like my old one. And they're like, okay, that one you can, because the crystal was already falling off. And I'm like, but this is so old. They're like, doesn't matter. That's the one you can wear. Unless you want to go try find another one. I'm like, no, there's no time for that. I'm like, okay, so where's your heels? I'm like, oh, here. They're like, oh, you can't wear those heels. I'm like, why? It's too high. I'm like, but what do you mean too high? That's the one I have been wearing like this whole year. And they're like, I told you, we don't do like NPC here. NPC is a mess. They, like really was before they split, right? So they were always very bitter about the NPC. And I
Oh,
didn't
that's
know.
right, because that's before, the
Yes.
IFBB Worldwide, they split with the
Yeah.
NPC and then became the IFBB Pro League. That makes
like
sense.
right after that, they had the split, and then it was the Pro Elite, and then the IFBB Pro League took over, and NPC Worldwide took over everywhere. But they were treating me like so bad. And I'm like, but what shoes I'm going to wear? They like, go buy another one. Go to the store. I'm like, oh, but regular shoe? Yeah, a regular shoe. At least, but you got to be low. I'm like, what about this one? Then I showed the one that I used just to practice, my old one, all messed up. Okay, that one you can. So I went with the old bikini, old heels. And then I went there. I'm like, I set up the makeup with the show, right? And the tanning, everything they put me to last, everything. I'm like, oh, I'm ready. They're like, oh, no, we have you last. And I'm like, but I'm here before. Like, there's nobody. Like, no, but you got to wait because the girls, I'm like, wow, like they did everything for me to have a really bad experience. And then I finally sat for makeup, and they like started and then did my skin, and they start. If you see my pictures when I compete in Brazil, my makeup, and then a guy came like, hey, you gotta come. It's time. I'm like, no, but they just started my makeup. They put me to do it last. And they're like, but doesn't matter. Or you come without makeup or you're not going on. I'm like, wow. I'm like, and then they later like, oh, let me just put some lipstick on. I'm like, okay. I'm like, wow, no lashes. And then I went and I was waiting in line. So I had time to do my makeup. I was waiting. I'm like, wow, I see. I'm like, I don't think it's gonna be a good experience on stage as well, but I'm just gonna go on and put on a show because that's the only thing I can control,
Yeah.
right? So
And Angelica, we talk about that all the time. And I know you talk about that with your athletes is focus on what you control because there are going to be so many things that you don't. You don't control the other athletes. You don't control the expediters. You don't control how you're going to be treated and how you're going to be rushed around or you're like in your experience being told that, well, you can't wear what you came here with. And so what you did really, and this just speaks so well of you, and we know this about you, but I don't know that everybody knows this about you, is that you adapt. There's a saying in the Marine Corps about adapt, improvise, overcome, and that's kind of the culture of the Marines. And I know your husband served in the Navy, so I hope he's not mad at me for talking about the Marines, but
he loves the Marines.
I know he does, and I love that about him, among many other things. He's an amazing human being. The mindset of adapting, improvise, taking what you get, and then making that work for you. Now we need to know, how did you do in that show?
So I end up getting third place. I was,
despite everything they did to keep you from.
Despite everything, I didn't know anyone, I didn't know the judging, nobody knew me, and and they didn't want me there. Like it was
Clearly.
They didn't want me there,
Yeah.
And wow, I put on a show. Like I'm really proud, like the way I posed and everything. And I got third place. But they said you can come here. You don't even need to win. You just need to compete here for us to give you a pro card. So I was so used to winning because it was like winning, overalls, winning all the time. And then I got there, I got third place. I was like, wow, okay, like at least I'm here, and that's what they wanted me to compete here. So now what matters is my pro card after this really bad experience. And then I went back to Brazil and I'm waiting someone to contact me, nothing. And then I emailed them like, hey, I had a great time competing in Brazil.
Great time.
Really good time. But now what about my pro card? Because you said you just want me to come and compete and, but wait, like, so now what's the next step for my pro card? And they're like, oh, after you came here and competed, and now we see that you can come here and we thought you couldn't travel to Brazil, but now that we know that you can't, we gotta deny your pro card in this method, through this process, and we invite you to come here and start all over doing a local show, and then a state show, and then qualifying for Arnold or Universe or Worlds, and then if you win the overall, that's when you're gonna get your pro card. I'm like, I didn't even answer. I'm like, it was like a bomb. It was like, okay, so I'm doing all this journey, trying to win all these overalls for over a year, and then I go to Brazil, and then you change everything in your mind, and you say no, and then I just translate everything and send to President Chimene, like, President Chimene, I'm so sad. This was the answer after I did everything they asked for. There's nothing else I can do. Like, there's nothing else. I'm just, I'm just going to leave it right there. My future is in your hands. And I don't know if you can do anything because I know it's in their power. But, like really, really crying. And and then he didn't answer at that time. I think he tried to talk and things. And then a week went by and I'm like, okay, I even posted on Instagram, okay, I did everything I could. I don't know what the future holds for me, but in competing, that's all I could do. If there's no way for me to get the pro card because I'm not an American citizen yet, I'll be, but not now. I have the green card, but I can't do nationals. So I did everything I could. So now that's it. Like, let's see, if God wants, I'll one day get my pro card. If not, and then like a week after, President Emmanuel emailed me like, okay, you're gonna get something in the mail. I'm like, really? It's like, here's your pro card application. I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh, I got chills.
Yeah, I fill it out everything. I'm like, oh my God, he spoke to Brazil, and they went back and they're gonna give me my pro card and I'll represent Brazil. But when my pro card came, it said representing US. So he went and then he told me, like, Angelica, you deserve to be a pro. Like, it's not fair that you keep doing local shows, amateur shows, because I was going to the shows and I knew all the girls because you all in the same area. They're like, "Oh, you here again? You just won last week. Why are you doing
Yeah, the
this
girls
show?"
were like, please stop showing up and winning all the overalls.
Showing up. Yeah, they were kind of like getting mad, but they all became my friends because I would, "Oh, I'm sorry, like, it's not my fault. I need to keep winning overalls. Like, that's what they want. I can't do national." And then they all like embrace my cause. They all like, "You need," and then everyone was supposed to, "What? This girl needs to get a pro card. She's a pro way longer before. We don't want her competing here anymore."
Yes,
They'll
please
post
move
on.
her on.
Yeah, and then President Mena said, "You deserve to be a pro. You've been a pro for a long time already, and it's just fair that you get your pro card. So now you're representing US." So I'm forever, forever grateful to President Mena, because if it wasn't for him, he could just say, "Angelica, okay, if they don't want to do it, I'm sorry. But he looked it down and he was like, "You know what? You deserve it. You fought for it. You really did what it takes." And he's like, "Okay, if they don't want you, you're gonna represent US." And always when I came on stage and they said from US, some Brazilians would always get mad. Like, why she represents US and not Brazil? And then when I speak and I open my mouth to say, after they split, because before they split, I couldn't say anything because, right, it was just one thing. I'm like, I'm not going to be complaining but after they split was when I opened and I was like, okay, now that it's not the same federation anymore, they're not part of us anymore. And now I can say I was really bad treated in Brazil. And this is what happened. They promised my pro card and they didn't get it to me, even though I did way more than they asked for. And President Emmanuel gave me my pro card.
That's
So
amazing. Well, I mean, I do think, we've seen everything continue to improve worldwide since the split with the other organization and now the NPC IFBB worldwide, and it's just so much more cohesive and so much more, I think, now athletes can travel the world, but you kind of were right at that end point before that happened, and it's really amazing to hear your story and what you had to endure. But how awesome that Jim did step in
my
and
case was one of the many cases that made President Emmanuel, like do this, like this split happened. So my case was one of them because he was so close to him and he could see how I was, treated. And there was many other stories coming from Brazil, from Europe, that people was trying and trying and they deserve it, but they never gave it to them. So it was really, really dark. And after the split, the light came again and gave opportunity to athletes that will never get the pro card. There are some athletes in Brazil that they deserve it to be a pro. They're amazing. They're very famous. They were very successful competing, but they are not pros. Like, because they made it so hard for them to become.
That's unfortunate. So talk a little bit about this, Angelica, because I want to make sure that we leave some time because I want to talk about the Olympias and I want to talk about your family a little bit and those two amazing little girls that you have. Before we get to that, let's talk about this. You said something about it was difficult to win all these overalls and then go to Brazil and take third. And this is something that we talk about with our athletes. You've talked about it with your athletes a lot, is how do you, in this sport in particular, you're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win. How do you prepare yourself for that?
Well, like after a little while, you just gotta have no expectations, enjoy the moment, enjoy the experience, know that you're learning from every experience. Every show that you go is an experience that you take forever, to your life. I remember every experience, every peak week, everything, and everything is a bonus. Even the bad things that happen, it's for you, you're learning. Right. So after like a few defeats, like in Brazil, it was kind of like the beginning. And then I got my pro card and then I went to my pro debut. Of course, I didn't expect to win. And I think I did amazing. Like I got fourth place in my pro debut at the Tampa Pro. And I'm like, oh, this is a big show. This is a great sign. So I was happy. Then I knew. I'm like, I'm not going to get first place. And now I'm a pro. It's a new world. And then I went to
IFBB, the Coastal Classic in
Coastal
August.
Classic.
Yep.
Yeah. And I got second place. And then I'm like, oh, I'm so close. And that was the last show of the season to qualify. It was the Naples Pro. It was the first year that they were having that show. And I'm like, oh, I'm coming. So I was doing like back to back every weekend. I did Tampa, and then I did Coastal Classic. And then I went to Naples the weekend after. My husband was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Flying everywhere. I had no sponsors, paying everything by myself. And I'm like, hey, but I hear that voice. I gotta keep going. And my husband like, oh wow, okay, you keep going. We keep paying the bills and you keep going, you know. But he supported me. But I did spend a lot of money at the beginning because I had no sponsors, nobody to pay for nothing, right? And once you become a pro, then I was first just trying to compete more local. But once you become a pro, you gotta go where the shows are. And if you're trying to qualify, and there's just a few shows, you gotta go where the shows are, right? So
were you still working as a personal trainer at this time and a group instructor?
Me?
Yeah.
Like right now? No.
No, at this time when you won the Naples Pro. So in 2015, were you still okay?
Yes, I was taking breaks, like no class Friday, you know, but teaching the class Thursday, you know, and then flying out, you know, like so doing all my training, all my cardio, plus, you know, plus the group class. It was tough. It was tough. It was really tough. And I think that's why I was so shredded at that time, because even though I was doing all the class, I still had the cardio to do, you know. If it was today, I'm like, okay, I'm switching this cardio for this class. You know?
Right.
Now I know better, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But at that time, you know, my coach at that time, no, you still gotta do your cardio. I'm like, I was so lean. And, you know, it was hard to fill out. That was one of the things at that time. So I went to Naples Pro, and then I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is it. This is like took second, so let's see. So I end up winning. And it was an amazing win because then, you know, like I won. They gave me a bigger award, like, you know, like cash award, and they gave me a Rolex that I have until now. Like people said, you should sell. I'm like,
wow,
I'm never gonna sell. Yeah, they gave me a Rolex.
Wow, that's such a cool gift award for your first pro win. What an amazing
They
thing.
went really big because it was the first year, you know, and the prize money was bigger too. I don't remember how much. I think it was bigger because I remember that everyone was like, "Oh, you got lucky."
Yeah,
like,
so Marco was happy. That helped to pay for all the other.
He was like, "Yay, baby! Okay, it's starting to pay off," you know.
That's awesome.
So I made some good money, and then I got Rolex, and then I got qualified for the Olympia, right? And then I went to the Olympia, that, you know, momentum. I'm like, oh, I think I can do it. I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I'll do top 10 at the Olympia. And then I went to the Olympia and I was second to last. And I'm like, oh, second to last. And then that's when, Greg, you know, it hits that. Like you used to winning, you used to doing well, you're going up, and then you go to that big show, and then you're like, ooh, you know. and it was so good for me as a competitor to be in that last call out. As a competitor, as a coach, you know, like to understand what it feels to be there, to be left out, and everyone being called, and you're like, oh, they forgot about me, you know. I think everyone should go through this. Like it made me a better competitor. Today I can understand when my clients don't do so well. I can put myself in their place and like, I remember how it was. And then I know how to, you know, like hug them and tell, hey, it happened to me. And then after that, you know, I was really successful. So don't give up. Don't let yourself down, because that's what happens. One show you do really bad, but and then we improve. We get feedback, we improve, we make change, and then we do better. Like,
yeah, I would say. And then the next year you came back and came second at the Olympia. So second to last place to second place. And it was amazing. I think the winner that year was Courtney King, if I remember correctly. And yeah.
King won, and I got second place.
And then came back the following year and won your very first Olympia in 2017.
So what changed the most between your first Olympia and then the second Olympia? What did you change the most that helped you come back as a stronger competitor?
So I think, like, for me, after I won my first Olympia, I really wore the T-shirt. I'm the Miss Olympia, you know, like this division needs to be represented. Like I want to make this division grow. You know, like it was something that it was kind of like I was supposed to do that. Like for me, when I got that title, it was like, okay, now I want to go to every show I can. I want to welcome all the newcomers, you know, like all the girls starting. I want to go to seminars. I want to be there. I want to, you know, it was something amazing for me. It was like it just opened the door. That phrase that at the beginning, I love people. People were coming to me now. I didn't need to go to people, you know. People were coming to me and I love that. Like all the girls coming to me, oh my God, Angelica, I love you. I'm like, oh my God, I love you guys too. Like it was, you know, so it was amazing. Like it was amazing. So the whole, you know, the whole year, like physique wise, I think I didn't do much. I just kept doing what I was doing before because they said, oh, no change, just bring the same physique. You know, they say you don't need to improve anything, kind of like keep the same package. And I'm like, oh, this is easy and hard because then, you know, so I was training with like moderate weight, never too heavy weight. And then like, I used to training like that, you know, like it was like that almost my whole journey while I was winning. And then after, you know, until I stopped to have babies, I never trained super heavy because the feedback was always, okay, coming a little bit tighter, you know, but don't change much. We don't want you to grow anything. I'm like, okay, so let's try to, you know, just keep that balance, you know, throughout the year. And I think that was good because then gave me more space. I didn't need to worry about, okay, I need to grow my glutes more. I need to grow my shoulders, you know. I can kind of like relax and be a great representative of the sport and really be there for the shows, for the promoters, for the federation, right? Like you just gave me the platform to be there, like, you know. So it was amazing. Then when I went to defend my title, it was hard because it was a lot of pressure. You know, that year Ashley Kawatsa decided to come back, and you know how they like to make things, you know. So they're like, oh, the three-time champ is coming back, and
What? They don't like to do that.
oh
He's
no,
joking.
I'm joking. Yeah,
No.
they've actually already started doing that for the 2025 Olympia for this year, because I guess Jen Dory announced that she's going to come back. So they talked about having 5 Olympia champions: Jen, Isa Pacini, Ashley Kay, Laura Lee, and
Maureen.
Maureen. Yeah, all 5. So.
Yeah.
They've already started. They've already started
I
talking about
saw.
that. But
I'm
yeah,
like, thank God I'm out.
It's going to be a competitive year, that's for sure. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be a great year for bikini.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
excited.
Angelica, talk about this then. You've been in this sport, and when you say, I mean, you are, I would say, the ambassador of the sport. I mean, I cannot think of very many people that are as beloved as you, and you've earned that. I mean, you didn't just get that. That's not something that. Yeah, I mean, you earned that by your graciousness, by your compassion, by your heart. You're just so much that. And when you say you love
I'm glad you're
people,
saying that instead of me because I'd be crying again.
when you say you love people, it's not just something you say; it's something that we see. And we have been honored to watch you and how you interact with people, and it is definitely very, very evident that you do love people.
Interested in changing your life or stepping on stage? Join FitBody Fusion today.
Experience the FitBody Fusion difference with tools, knowledge, and community support to reach your healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
We guide thousands on their fitness journeys, from seasoned athletes to those who are simply seeking a healthier life.
Our expert coaches provide personalized plans and unwavering support, empowering you to thrive.
FitBody Fusion is more than just training. It's a community. We understand the challenges of solo fitness journeys, which is why we foster a supportive environment where members encourage and motivate each other.
Join the FitBody Fusion community today and unlock your full potential.
Head to fitbodyfusion.com to sign up for a free consultation.
And do it today. Talk about that, because I want to talk about family after this, but before we do, just talk about the evolution of bikini from 2013 to, hey, you got back on the stage after kids, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But I mean, you competed at the Olympia this last year in 2024. So talk about the evolution of the sport. I think it ties in with what you were just talking about of coming in a little bit tighter and not full. But obviously now the sport has changed. The division has evolved. So talk a little bit about your perspective on that.
So until 2018, I think bikini was one physique, and then 2019, when I lost my title, and Isa won, I think was a big jump, and that's when everyone started to change and twisting more. Like we did not used to post twisting the upper body so much, and then I could see, I'm like, oh, like, because I try to hold bikini very feminine. I'm very Jamie knows, she coached me, like this last year. I'm very vascular. Even during my pregnancy, you could see my veins. It's, I have this genetic. My dad is like that. My aunt was like that. So it's genetic. So I always trying to hide it. I always, like by the end of my prep, if I was getting too hard, I would do something to soften up and keep bikini very soft and feminine, still athletic. But after 2019 that I lost my title, I think I brought a similar physique. Maybe I was a little bit too soft, and that's understandable why I lost my title. And then Isa won an amazing physique, like amazing, but a little bit more muscle, a little bit more upper body. So there, I think in that year it started to change. And then in 2020, I tried to follow, but like, of course, I changed my physique for the Arnold 2020, and then for the Olympia 2020, you can see that I was way tighter, like a little harder. And then I was like, okay, time to have babies, because I don't want to keep going that way. And then I'm going to have babies later, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm stepping back. Let's see what happens. So during that time that I stepped back to have babies, I saw bikini was transforming. I'm like, wow, it's really changing. Like, I'm out now, but I see like the level is like way higher, way more density, way more muscle. The glutes is like crazy. Like we used to have, like my glutes used to be, everyone like, oh, you have crazy glutes, you have crazy tie-ins. But if you put my glutes at that time that I was winning with the girls that are winning now, like I had nothing back then. So when I came back and I decided to come back, I remember, I did my first prep by myself for the Arnold, but Jamie was one of my second eyes. She was there. I was sending her picture, and she's like, okay. I'm trying to understand like what's going on, and Jamie, okay, yeah, I think you need to work on a little bit more density in the glutes. And I'm like, oh, my glutes used to be so good, right? It's not that good anymore, because good now it's on another level, right? So I'm like, I went to Pittsburgh for feedback, and the feedback from Tyler was the same. Oh, a little bit more density in the glutes. And I'm like, oh, I see where they're going, right? So they're going with a lot of more muscle now. Really, really full. Like bikini was petite, was small. We were small before. Now it's way bigger. So I'm like, wow. So I tried, and I think I did a great job bringing my best package. And then when me and Jamie started working together for the Olympia, we did an amazing job. And I think placing 10 at the Olympia was really good. Like, because the level, it changed. It just evolves, the sport evolves. And that's why, like, I think they try to go back, and they thought about, should we go back with bikini and take a step back, or should we create another division? I think that's when they like, what, it's so hard to go back. Once all the top competitors, they're already improving, they're already, like following the feedback and getting a little bit more density. How are we going to ask them to go back? It's hard to lose the muscle, right? So that's when they came in like, what, let's create a new division that will be a little easier, because all the girls that wanted to start, they were kind of like scared. They were like, how am I going to get to that level? Like, even to do an amateur show, they were scared. They're like, how am I going to build all that muscle? So I think that's when Fit Model came, and I think was a great addition to the federation, because then it's way easier to achieve. And then after you achieve that, maybe they can think about building more and getting to the bikini level, because bikini level is like really, really tough and really high right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm so excited for the fit model division. And, I know there's like some people that feel one way or the other, but, I feel like even some people don't want to have the level of muscle that bikini has, like, it's a different look. It's a different, and that, to me, what I love about our sport is there's something for everyone, so there's those athletes that want more muscle than bikini, I mean, certainly I can relate to your story because when I competed at the Olympia in figure, we were so much smaller than the figure athletes are today. I was almost, they kept telling me I was too muscular at the time. So I can only imagine if I put that package on stage with the figure pros of today, they would be like, what are you doing? Like, this is not, you're not figure, So it's
Go to
really
bikini or fit model.
yeah, right. Exactly. So I mean, it's interesting, and I think it's exciting to see how it's evolved, and I'm glad that they brought on the fit model. And I know we want to talk about the family aspect, but there's one more thing I did want to talk a little bit about it because you've been such a great ambassador for the sport. That's attracted sponsorships, some great sponsors that you've had over the years, and I know a lot of times people wonder, how do I get sponsorships? So I would love for you to talk a little bit about that because I do think, you have to first be the ambassador and then the sponsors want to work with you. And I think sometimes people want it the other way around. They want to just, oh, I'm here, sponsor me, So I'd love you to talk a little bit about, how you ended up with your sponsors, anything you want to share about them and what that's done for you.
Yeah. So when I started my journey, I told you, right, that I was doing things and I didn't had sponsors. I had offers, but it was offers that I thought like I'm not gonna be linked to a company that can really, really help me. And then, like later if another company that I really value me comes, I gotta say no because I'm already linked to another company. So before I signed with my first sponsors, I say no to a few because I thought they were not really following me, like in the way, like I wanted. So my advice first for everyone competing is like, don't get linked, don't accept, like just to say that you sponsored. I see that some just want to say, okay, I'm sponsored by this brand.
Right.
It's not like that. Like, I won the Arnold Classic here. I became Miss Bikini International and won in Australia without any sponsors, like zero sponsors. So I think a few athletes think that it has to do, like winning has to do with sponsors, that they have something that they can help. But no, like I won, I got second place at the Olympia with no sponsors, and then I got first place at the Arnold with no sponsors. And then after that, it's the way you put yourself out there. Like sponsors want enthusiastic people, want like real people. They want you to be organic and to talk, like they want you to really love the products, right? So before accepting any sponsorship, you gotta try, you gotta make sure you love, otherwise it'll be a struggle. Because oh my God, I hate this, but I need to post 5 times a week, so you gotta make sure there's something that you love first. This way you be excited to talk about it. Like all my sponsors that I had is something that I tried before. It really fit my lifestyle. I never accept like when I was on top, like I would had like in my email like full of like, you want to represent this watch? Do you want to represent this I don't know, like things that has nothing to do with my lifestyle? And I would say no. Like, no, I'm sorry, it's nice, but how I'm gonna be posting about it, it's not part of my lifestyle. I want something that will be just easy for me because I use all the time, and I can just organically post and represent. So my advice is that don't go because of the money. Don't go with a company just to say you sponsored, because I feel some athletes, they kind of like, oh, I'm sponsored, No, it's like the sponsor got to be there to help you. It's got to be something that helps your lifestyle, that helps your journey, something that you use that you think going to help your performance, like any type of sponsorships. And I did not never reach out, so I waited for them to reach out to me. But you can reach out if it's a company that you love. You can send an email, you can contact on Instagram, and then you can show what you're doing if you're competing. Show a little bit of your bio and what you're doing. Like I was lucky because I started being very successful, so that put me in the eyes like of the sponsors, and that's when all the sponsors came. But do it right, represent right, because like right now I'm retiring and I still have my sponsors. They still want to work with me because they say your value is not in competing, it's in your personality, the way you represent yourself, the way you represent the brand. So I'm so grateful. You say talk a little bit about your sponsors. I want to thank them, thank Pro AM Nutrition, like with my supplements, they're amazing. It's a new company and I'm loving the journey with them. It's been like surreal. Trifecta, I'm with Trifecta since 2019. So they say I'm the longest athlete they have. So, oh my God, they were with me through my pregnancy. They didn't turn their back on me. They were sending me food like to feed me through my pregnancy and then to feed my babies, to feed my family when it was a tough time for me because then I lost most of my sponsors, right, at that time. So it was a tough time. It was when we didn't speak about that, right? So we should have some time later, maybe another episode to talk about the transition of being the Angelica Teixeira legend, winning, and then becoming a mom. That was the best gift of my life, but it was kind of like if I was two different person, right? So from being all about myself, all about my career, to being all about my babies, right? All about being a mom, all about like everything changed. No more sponsors, very little money in my pocket. Thank God my husband started a really good job that he could take care of the family. And our life was always like this. We're doing things together. I'm making more now. He's making a little less. And then now he's making more. I'm making a little less, So like I'm already talking about something else, but I think it's important to say, like because people want to like, oh, how was that transition for you? Like from being the best in the world to becoming a mom, right? So it was tough, then I start coaching with FitBody Fusion and things start getting better. I start like doing what I love. I was already coaching, but not so much. And then I had way more clients and, like things start to get better. And I still had sponsors like Trifecta, like helping me. And and then when I decided to go back competing, it was like taking the old Angelica, the new Angelica mom, and making the fusion, right? Like just one Angelica. So that's when I thought that I could bring both together. And I think it was today, I know was the best decision making a comeback because then, like I'm the same person as I was before and I'm the new person, a great mom, I'm here for my family and I know I can do both. Like I'm in great shape. I feel great about my body, so it was necessary to come back and to be on stage again after having my babies to bring back my identity, and make it just one Angelica again.
Well, and I don't think when you said you love your body, I don't think you're the only one because I think that you look fantastic. I'd submit to you that you look better than you did when you won the Olympia. So in a lot of different ways, because you improved, you worked on the, going from champion in 2017 to, back on the stage in 2024 is that, that was a lot of time in the bikini world, and
a lot of change
and a lot
and
of it, a lot
development.
of change.
Yeah.
So, and you said something, Angelica, I'm going to have to correct you. You said, go from being the best in the world to being a mom. Well, you are still the best in the world. You're just, it just, what best looks like is different. And we have seen you around your babies and your daughters, and
my favorite check-ins is when they're dancing around
they
you.
are. Marco was showing me some pictures at the Arnold of your daughters imitating your walk on the, your bikini walk, and I mean, God, there are trophies given for winning shows, but they do not give trophies for winning the most important contest in the world, and that is the contest of life. And if they were giving a trophy for that, there's no doubt in my mind that you would be a champion because you are a champion. So
I think that's kind of like what Arnold did for me this last show. I didn't get the win, but it was kind of like the way they honored me on stage, not just for the athlete that I was, but for the human that I was this whole journey, how I touched people throughout my journey. It's kind of like what you said, Greg. It's kind of like they gave me an award for being a life champion,
That's right.
for everything that I done. So it was something that I didn't expect, but it was such a beautiful way for me to end this chapter,
Well,
we
there
were
was not a dry
no, there
eye
was not.
in the whole. I mean, literally, when you took your heels off, and then when you
Well,
came out and spoke,
I have that. I don't know if it'll show.
literally everyone around us was just tears were coming out. It was so beautiful. It was just so incredible.
Can you show that, Chase? Okay,
And
all right.
and I feel like what is so amazing is I have so many women who, maybe they're starting their journey or they're on their bodybuilding journey and they're like, "Oh, do I need to have kids first? Or what if I already have kids?" Or, and so you being so successful, having your babies, coming back and stepping back on that stage and being so like looking so incredible and showing people that you can do it all. I mean, you can
Yeah.
compete, you can go have kids, you can come back, or you can have them before, or I mean, we all get to be part of this bodybuilding community as moms, as people that have, aren't moms, all of those things. I just think you represented a lot for women and the way that you've carried yourself, and just, I mean, seeing all the women hold you up backstage, literally hold you up backstage,
Yeah.
That was
and
a
all
moment.
of their emotions, like it just was very special, honestly. Like, I am so happy I got to be there and be part of it. It was amazing.
Yeah, you gave us memories that are priceless, and not just us, but the entire bodybuilding world. And we'll put that picture up. Chase is going to put the picture up of you holding your heels up, and that moment. And yeah, I mean, I have that. I have the video of your routine and you taking off your heels, and it was so poignant. And then that followed by how they honored you, and you proved that you don't need to win the show to be a champion.
No.
You can be a champion, and there are things that are bigger, or in this case, maybe smaller, in the form of those two little angels that you have. There
They
are
are
things that are
big.
smaller that end up being bigger, right?
Yeah, they are. And Jamie knows, she was coaching me. This prep was different because even though I did my best, my goal wasn't to win, like I always prep it to win, like every show. But this one didn't matter because I'm not chasing, I put in my mind already when I told Jamie, she was like, "Oh, wow. Like, like you're doing well. We're getting better, because it was a comeback." And I explained to her and, to my people, right? Nobody kind of knew until I announced it, but Jamie and my people knew way before, like when I decided to retire. And it was different. I'm like, this show will be for me. It'll be for me. I want to be proud on stage, even though I want to bring kind of like what the judges want, but I want to be honest to myself, truthful to myself, and just be proud on stage because my placing will not matter. Like, I'm not chasing anything anymore. I have accomplished everything. So this last one will be for me, will be for my fans, and like just be to close this chapter. So, it was a different prep. It was way different than all my other preps, all my 43 preps. This number 44 was way different because I was doing things for me. Very focused still, but very, it was, I enjoyed every week, like prepping with my girls and, like, and having them involved with this. And, like it was kind of like I closed my eye and the whole prep, I just felt every second of it. Like this is the last one. Everything that I did through the prep, I'm like, this is the last time. This is the, this is the like last time I'm doing this. And then flying to a high, last time I'm eating asparagus and chicken by the side of my friends. He flying with me, smelling the chicken and like all the food. Like, last time, guys, I'm sorry. Last
Oh,
time
gosh.
I waiting, eating cold food, so, but I enjoyed all of that, like it was a big journey, 12 years. And even the struggles, we got used to it and we kind of love it. So I told myself, like, it's I would just want to enjoy every second and walk on that stage. And for that one, before I took off my heels, I was holding my tears. Like, I tried to, and sometimes I'll hold, like almost crying because I knew it was the first time. It was the last dance as like I called, right? Like the name last dance. And it was very, very emotional, but I'm so happy with everything, the way, it doesn't matter for me the way I placed. Of course, if it was before, I would not be happy with my placement, but this time it didn't matter. And I think the judges knew that.
Yeah, I loved honoring that for you too,
Right.
because I knew that this meant something different. And then this prep was really about you enjoying every single moment of it and doing it your way. And, during the weekend, of course, I knew the social component was going to be huge for you. And, getting to spend time at the expo with your sponsors, getting to spend time with the fans and really give of yourself, because I know that's what gives back to you so much and that's what makes you happy. So even though with the coach's hat on, I wanted to drag you and put you to bed,
Yeah.
or make you sit down and eat and drink some water.
Like, you need to you can't be standing there, like in.
Well, and there was one other
There's
one other variable too, Angelica, is that you were in the throes of a pretty good asthma attack when you arrived in Columbus, and that added a different variable to your prep. It added a different variable to peak week. It added a different variable to you being at the expo, because you were, I mean, I had asthma as a child, but not as an adult. And I can't even imagine. I knew you were struggling with that a lot. That was tough, but you just, as the saying goes, you soldiered up. You just stood up, and you stood up for your fans. And I don't know if they know, but I'm telling them, because I'm so proud of the way that you did show up for yourself and for them, that you showed up with,
nobody knows about my asthma yet, but there's something that I wanted to talk about. And I was like, I'll open up to, like to my followers and talk about that, because there was something that I didn't had before. Like, so when I had my first daughter, during my pregnancy, once I moved to Austin. Austin is a very allergic city. I started having some allergies, and then I got pregnant, and I could take any medicine, because the doctor even said, "Oh, you can take allergy medicine," but I didn't want to give any medicine to my baby, so I said, "No, I'm not gonna take any medicine. I'll go through it," And it was an amazing pregnancy from every angle, but not from the allergies. I was with runny nose. My whole pregnancy was terrible in that way. So after I had Alice, I went to the doctor, and he said, "Oh," and I started coughing, waking her up all the time when she was like 1 month old, and not letting my husband sleep. And I didn't understand what's going on, coughing. And then I went to the doctor. He's like, "Oh, you have asthma." And I'm like, "No, like I never had asthma. I don't have that problem." It's like, "Yeah, you had allergies your whole pregnancy. So now you have an allergic asthma." And I'm like, "Oh," so I had to start on an inhaler, and I hate medicine, but I was, forced to do it. And then I had to do an asthma medication throughout my whole pregnancy with my second baby, because then the allergies got worse again. And the doctor said, it's better if you use, now you have asthma, it's better if you use the inhaler than not using, and it can be bad for the baby, because then you can't breathe well. So when I decided to go back compete, it was a struggle, because I used to prep with no health issues, right? But like very healthy. And then, like Jamie knows, since my first show, I'm like, I'm not gonna use this inhaler because it speeds me up, and I want to I want to be fuller, and I think this is not. And I cut the inhaler, and then I'm good for a week or two, and then I start to, to not breathe well, and then I'm like, oh my God, I need to bring back the inhaler. And then I'll use the inhaler, and my physique would change completely. Like I'll be from being full and nice round muscles to look stringy, and I'm like, oh my God. And then through the Arnold, I was kind of like doing that by myself and trying to figure it out, and then using the inhaler and then cutting the inhaler, and I'm like, trying to study every angle of it, like by myself. And I'm like, this is such a struggle. And I think I brought a great physique for what I could. And then when Jamie started helping me, that's when I told Jamie already knew about the asthma, about the inhaler, because she was helping me with the Arnold, right? Like kind of like a second eye, point me what to do with, kind of like what the judge wanted. And then when she started helping me, she was like, okay, I'm like, I don't want to use the inhaler, Jamie. Right? I'm like, this inhaler, it just speeds me up. And I know a lot of people use similar things to speed up and to burn more fat and to get in shape faster. But for me, it never worked, because I was always more to the lean, to the vascular, to the, side. So So I never liked it to use, so I never needed. And now having to use, being obligated, I knew how it played a role on my physique. So, it's not the reason that I decided to stop, but it's something that was a big struggle for me going back competing, and for this last show, like for the Olympia was tough, and I could figure out, I think it was a better season of the year that I could stay more away from the inhaler, but now it's very allergic season here in Austin, like all the pollen's out, like it start getting warm earlier. And I was like, oh, no inhaler, yay, yay. Send Jamie pictures and like, okay, we bring a fuller package. That's good, okay. And then by the sudden, all the allergies start. And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then I'm trying to sleep at night and I'm coughing and coughing, waking up my husband that has to wake up at 5 a.m. And I'm like, okay. In the middle of the night, I'm like, okay, I'll have to use the inhaler. And then I knew I wasn't going to bring the full, nice, brown physique that I wanted because the inhaler just plays that hole in my physique. So that was something that it was tough for me, with my comeback. And
I think Vegas helped us too, because you were in the desert for the Olympia, and the desert has so much less of the allergies, whereas going to Ohio and then, like you said, that time of year in Austin. But you worked through it and you were such a trooper despite, it's not fun not being able to breathe. So it's like not be able to breathe or not be able to stay full. It's like, so you did a great job.
We were talking about, should we drop the inhaler? And then Jamie was like, but we need you to breathe.
Breathing's important.
I'm like, how am I going to breathe on stage? That's true. I'm like, no, let's, so, and I think when I got to Ohio, the excitement and everything, it got even worse. Like my asthma got even worse. It was when I'm like, okay, because I brought the inhaler, it was kind of like, right? I brought the inhaler and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to cut the inhaler now because it's getting closer. So I'm going to cut. So once I got to Ohio and Jamie was like, oh, you got back to the inhaler and yeah, your physique, we can tell. Let's eat. Let's eat. Like
we did a couple burgers and fries and
couple burgers and fries. And even though it wasn't enough because, like once, it speeds me up like that, it's tough. It's tough. But I'm proud. I think I would still, even with the inhaler and with the asthma and, like everything, I think we brought an amazing physique. I even told Jamie, I'm like, I'm really proud because I think at my time, when I was winning, this would be a really amazing physique to show,
And
but now
that
it's
is correct.
different and it's okay. Like, so I was really happy. I was really proud. And, I felt great. I felt great. Like my last one, and I'm so, so proud of the physique we brought with all the issues and everything that we had and, in the backstage that only us knew. Now everyone knows.
Yes.
So we're very proud of you, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about. Well, we're out of time. Yeah, we're out of time, so we'll have to do it in the hack. So maybe we can just end this episode with this, Angelica, is tell people what your plans are now. So we close this chapter in the Angelica book, and there's something we always talk about, which is the dash. So there's a 2013 to 2025. Those are the dates of your competition, okay? And in between those two dates, there's a dash. So the dates, the numbers don't tell the story. Everything is told in the dash. The dash is what tells you everything that you just helped us understand more about you. And I mean, from coming to America to working as a bagger to competing and getting that pro card, petitioning and going all that way, and then going all the way up to being an Olympia champion twice, and then Arnold champion, and coming back to the stage after giving birth to two amazing little girls. What is the next chapter for you?
Now I still have my sponsors, right? So I'm representing my sponsors. They all believe in me on stage or off stage. So, like I have Sliton too that I didn't say. I start saying trifecta and then I got emotional with all the pregnancy and going back to being myself. And then I have Sliton and closing brand that we kind of like in the process of renewing the contract. So, let's see if it's going to work, but it looks like everything's going to work out. So I have a few sponsors that are still going to be the same Angelica. This is what I do. People say, what change? I don't want a big change. I want more time. I want to keep being me. Fitness is just, but I'm excited to do fitness with more freedom. That's why when you say checkout word or checking, like the checking now for this one, free. I'm feeling free because competing for so long, it's amazing. I love it. And oh my God, it's, like was the best thing like in my life, in my career. But once you know that you retire and then you can train and you have that freedom, you can. Doesn't matter if your quads will be too big. Doesn't matter if your abs will have a six pack showing, I can train for myself now. It's free. Like I really feel free. So I'm excited to do fitness just for me, just to, I can't go to the gym. No problem. Like yesterday, I put a mat on the floor outside and playing with my girls. I was doing my ab workout while playing with them, and then they come and they want to be part of it. It's just who I am. I'll be forever fitness. This is who I am since I was born. Like that's why I chose to do this for life, because I never wanted to stop. So keep representing my sponsors, coaching. Like I have been coaching with FitBody Fusion and I love it. Like it's amazing. Like
We love you.
like I love you. I love you guys, and I love the whole system. And all my clients that I brought that I had before, they all love it. And all the new clients that I got after I joined FitBody Fusion, it's just amazing. So I want to keep coaching. A lot of like some competitors, of course, but a lot of lifestyle moms that want to transform their body like I did. So they're like, she has the recipe, and I do. Yeah, come.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So coaching more, and I want to invest a little bit more on my social media too, because when you're competing, it's very right? Like all your focus on your physique, you're watching your body the whole day, you're on a very strict schedule, you need to go to the gym, you need to get your workout in, you need to get your cardio in. You're obligated to be in the gym 5-6 times a week. It's like, so now I have more freedom. I can think more about how I want to keep, like I have a really good following, like everyone's still there for me. They love following my journey. So they're here for the next chapter, and I want to invest a little bit more on my social media to kind of like give you a little bit more information, a little bit more of my knowledge, more content. So this is something that I'm planning. And what else? My family. Like my family is like really priority. I was able to really balance, like competing and working and being with them. But now that I'm not competing, I don't really want to balance and see them growing so fast and be rushing through things. I want to take the time to enjoy every second, to be outside with them, to play with them, and like to roll on the floor with them, and and be there for them like more. So, and for my husband, he's been supporting this whole journey, this crazy journey, right? Because he knows how intense it is. But a lot of people always came to him like, how do you handle your wife, competing? They get so crazy. And he was always like, no, Angelica, she's amazing. She doesn't change, and I always try to have that balance, because if you're competing, it's not like if you're hungry, if you're on a strict diet, it's not a partner's fault. Like I feel that a lot of people put like in your loved ones the weight of competing, like, and I always knew it's my choice. Like if I'm on a diet, it's my choice. So I got used to it, and I never really suffer, even though I was a little hungry or the show was getting closer and he knew, like it was a tougher time for me. He would try to get my mind away from it. And okay, let's go for a walk. Let's go run. Like, let's do your car outside and let's go run in a beautiful park. Like, and I'm like, oh, this was so good for my mind, So, but now I want to be able to go out with him more and enjoy and date, now that I have my sister here closer. Okay, take the babies. I'll date with my husband, so we can go out and also have more fun with my girls. So many times I went out, like when I went back competing, and they trying to feed me, and I'm bringing my own food. I'm ordering something that can fit my macros, but they want me to eat French fries. I'm like, Mom, can't eat that. But now I want to go out and eat everything that they want to feed me,
That's
so
cute.
I'm just excited. It's like I have a lot of flexibility now. Like, do everything. They still do everything that I love, but with no obligations. And one of my goals for my physique is to have a little bit more body. I don't need to be, like I want to grow a little bit more, to be a little bit more curvier, like a little bit more quads. Like, I want to slowly change my physique, not to the bikini shape, but a little bit more like kind of like the Brazilian style, but slowly training with a little bit more weights. Like now when I go to the gym, I'm like, okay, let's put the weights. I don't need to worry about the squats anymore. So it's fun. It's really fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We are at time. Checkout word?
Checkout word. Grateful.
Grateful. I love that. That is really fitting. And everybody, if you want to get a hold of Angelica, you can get her on Instagram at ANGELICAHT. I think I got that right. Okay.
Yeah,
you can also get to her through the fitbodyfusion.com or fit. I don't know why I said .com.
Well, it is .com, and you go to the consultation form and choose Angelica off of the coaches.
And I would say if you are a mother and you want to learn how to do that, I mean, I can think of no better coach than Angelica to help guide you on that journey. So she's perfect for that. She's just an amazing human being. And thank you so much for being with us. We are very honored. We were very honored to be at the Arnold to see both the kicking off the heels and how you did that, and then the honoring that they did before the awards were given. Your beautiful speech, which was amazing. So thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey, and for everybody else, thank you for being part of our journey. And you can be even more part of our journey by liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel, so that we can bring you guests like Angelica today. And everybody else, remember the 3 B's.
Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other. And be safe. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBodyFusion.